Good afternoon, everyone. This is Teacher Dave. For today's lesson, we will be discussing the parts and function of plants, together with my co-teacher, Teacher Jade, and Teacher Lawrence Linizo. So, let us start. Have you ever wondered how plants get their food? Or how they make? What do you think the roots of a plant do? Why do you think plants are important? Our lesson for today is about the parts and functions of plants. Is it true that plants are the earth producers, especially us humans? Well, you are correct, because they use photosynthesis to convert sunlight into energy. Plants are essentials for life. Almost all living things depends on plants for survival and nutrition. Plants are diverse. They come in many forms, from tiny algae to towering trees. Plants evolved on land. They first appeared on land about 500 years ago, but some have turned to aquatic habitats. That's from the other cases. This is our lesson outcome for today's discussion. First, the nature, origin, and characteristic of plants. What are plants? Where did they came from? And what makes them unique? Number 2, plants' tissues types and their functions. How are plants organized and what are the different types of tissues that makes up a plant? Number 3, the main structure and function of roots, stems, and leaves, and what are the different parts of a plant and what do they do? Plants organization. The image shows, or the image that you have seen on the screen, is the organization of a plant system that starts from the largest structures of organs down to the smallest cells. So the organs, or the main parts of a plant, such as roots, stems, and leaves, are the tissues. Also, is a group of similar cells that works together to perform a specific function. So the image shows 3 types of tissues also. As you can see, there is a ground tissue, the vascular tissue, and the dermal tissue. Ground tissue, it makes up the bulk of the plant and provides supports, storage, and photosynthesis. The vascular tissue transport water and nutrients throughout the plants. And the last but not the least is a dermal tissue. It covers the outer surface of the plants and protects it from the environment. And we have here also the cells. The cells, we all know that the cell is the basic building blocks of all living things. It includes plants. So the image shows the different types of cells also that found in each tissues is the ground tissue cells, the vascular tissue cells, and the dermal tissue cells. First is the ground tissue cells. It includes parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma cells. Second is the vascular tissue cells. It includes tracheids, vessel elements, sieve tubes, and companion cells. And last is the dermal tissue cells. It includes epidermis and peridermis cells. Next is we're going to explore the 3 main types of tissues, the dermal, vascular, and ground tissues. These tissues are working together to help plants to survive and thrive. So let's start with the dermal tissue. Dermal tissue, it's like the plant's skin that protects or protecting from the outside world. So the outer layer of the dermal tissue is called the epidermis. It is a single layer of cells that helps prevent water loss and keeps out harmful bacteria. Some plants also have a waxy cuticle on top of their epidermis. This cuticle helps them conserve water, especially in dry environments. So let's try to look at the image. That is the image of the dermal tissue or the epidermis. This image shows the epidermis of a leaf. Have you seen those guard cells? They control the opening and closing of tiny pores that we call the stomata, which allow for gas exchange. As plants get older, you know that not human and every living things were getting older in the meantime. So as plants get older, they develop a thicker protective layer called the periderm. Again, periderm. You can see it in this image shown on the screen. So the periderm is made up of several layers of cells. It includes the cork cells, which are dead and helps prevent water loss. Let's proceed to the vascular tissue. And this is the plant's transportation system. We already know what is transportation, right? So, transportation system is something that it moves the water and nutrients throughout the plants. Vascular tissue is made up of two main types, what we call the xylem and the phloem. Xylem transports water from the roots to the leaves, while phloem carries sugars produced by photosynthesis from the leaves to other parts of the plant. Look at the image that's on the screen. You can see the xylem and phloem working together to transport water and nutrients. Finally, we have the ground tissue. So these tissues makes up the bulk of the plants and perform various functions like photosynthesis, storage, and support. Ground tissue includes different types of cells such as parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma cells, as what I've mentioned earlier. These cells have different structures and functions, like it depends on the plant's needs. Monocot versus dicot. Root structure. Now let's compare the root structures of monocots and dicots. So this image that I've shown to you on the screen, it shows a cross sections of a monocot, the two roots and a dicot roots. Notice that the vascular tissue in the monocot root is arranged in a central cylinder called the pith, surrounded by a ring of ground tissue called the cortex. The vascular tissue in the dicot root is arranged in a ring with a central path. Monocot versus dicot stem structures. Finally, let's look at the stem structures of monocots and dicots. These images that I've shown to you on the screen, it shows the cross-section of a monocot stem and a dicot stem. In a monocot stem, the vascular bundles are scattered throughout the ground tissue. In a dicot stem, the vascular bundles are arranged in a ring forming a descent pattern. For more information, let us proceed to Teacher Jade. She will be the next teacher to discuss more about the plants and functions. Thank you.